Alberta Separation, Part 2. I have a degree in political science. I have studied Canadian constitutional law. I'm not a lawyer, but I've studied constitutional law, Supreme Court decisions, and I understand the Canadian Constitution very well. I talked about the legal feasibility of Alberta separating, but one thing that I left out, which is really important, but the reason why I left it out is that it's such a big topic, is Section 35 of the Charter, which is Indigenous and treaty protections. Land protections for Indigenous people within Canada, or as named in the Charter, is Aboriginal protections. And this is treaty and Indigenous land titles. Government is required to consult, and they have to actually do a lot of due diligence. Otherwise, the Indigenous people might get a pseudo veto. It's not quite a veto where they can just say no outright, but if they don't consult enough, they, as in the government, then they actually might not be able to do whatever they want. How does this work for Alberta? A lot of the land is Indigenous land. All Canadian land is technically Indigenous land. So specific tribes, even if it's not covered under treaty, will have Indigenous land title, meaning that they actually have legal right and sovereignty and ownership of the land. And this means that if Alberta tries to do a referendum for separation, for them to legally do that, they would need consent from the Indigenous people of Alberta. And good luck for that. And the other issue is that Alberta really likes to use the notwithstanding clause to override the Charter. But the one thing about the notwithstanding clause is that it's only applicable to sections 2 and sections 7 to 15 of the Charter. It's not applicable to section 35. That cannot be overridden. And so they're stuck. They are constitutionally obliged to consult and listen and cannot secede without the consent of Indigenous people. And not only would that be illegal domestically, it would be illegal internationally because Indigenous rights have been recognized by the United Nations. This is incredibly important because if you want to create your own country, if you want to exit, you can't do it on illegal foundations that violate international law. It's just stupid. I said it in my last video and I'll say it again. The UCP Party of Alberta, you're being incredibly stupid and there is no legal feasibility or way for you to secede. This is only going to waste political capital and hurt Albertans.